Good evening and welcome to Smart Entrepreneurship Decoded on Transcontinental Times. We have met entrepreneurs of all hues, all types, and a lot of investors apart from lawyers, owners of accelerators, and people from a diverse background, including media, motivational speakers, almost everywhere. Last week, we met a successful entrepreneur from the product space, somebody who had created a product and sold it to a large Indian conglomerate. Often, we find business owners, politicians, and others in the ecosystem or in the business community at large speak about the fact that India doesn't have an innovation culture. India doesn't have a strong R&D base. India does not create products. India creates services. They keep talking about it, but they don't do anything about it. If a young person today invents a product, where do they find the labs? Products take a long time from a lab to actually get into the market, and most products don't make that journey. Who will back them? How will they find support? A journey that normally takes 3 to 10 years versus a service kind of business which you can launch in a few months. Who are these brave hearts who continue pursuing these dreams in the absence and total absence of support and infrastructure? I was privileged to meet one of the finalists of our 2018 India Fund Fest, who was exactly on this journey. And our guest tonight is that very gentleman, Anand Sundararajan of Cordwell Technologies. Welcome, Anand.
Thank you, Nalin. Thank you, Nalin, for your kind introduction and having me on the
I'm,
show. Thank you so
I'm so
much.
happy to see that behind you on the wall, I still see the India Fund Fest finalist certificate. And I remember you were one of those finalists from across 12,000 applications in the country. One of the few people who had a product. And I know you started in 2012, your company formed in 2014. So it's a 7 to 9 year journey.
Right.
You are a hardcore R&D based product company. You started off with wearable devices. You were doing a crowdsourcing kind of thing for the wearable device that you started out with. Talk to us first about that product and then we'll look at the journey.
Okay. So, 2012, we started our R&D journey. We wanted to have a variable, and that time we had this. There's something called as SOC, like one board. We had an idea where we would have three cameras. So we met Intel R&D development. We met Qualcomm, and they said it's not possible to do that. And then during the journey, we developed it ourselves and then trying to convince people, like we had built an AI based out of wearable devices. We had three cameras set up there, and we wanted to bring a revolution where there's something called as golden hour. Like whenever there is any kind of medical emergency, the system or technology should be in a place where more lives can be saved. And that was the concept where we wanted wearable, because we had built sensors which had more than 325 data that can be done. But then it was so early when we started pitching this to people. People started telling us like nobody's going to talk to a machine. I mean, nobody's going to talk to a machine. It will look like crazy. And then it all started, and then we were also invited to CES where we presented this. But then all the way there was something called as timing. I mean, if you are a bit ahead of time and you try to explain that this is what system or technology is going to happen in future, it becomes difficult for companies or startups like us who have just began their pace. They have done an R&D and they wanted to bring out a product. So uh, we
So,
also did the
you,
crowdfunding here.
so you bring an important point. Timing is critical, right? A lot of research shows
Timing.
timing is what makes or breaks a business. So, in your view, you were a little ahead of time,
Yeah.
and people did not believe you that they will actually interact with a wearable device. And today, that's like a joke, right? Every child does it. Everybody
Yeah.
has a wearable device,
Yes.
and you were a little ahead of your time. But talk through about us about the process where you were trying to build this product, and when you do, I'm not an R&D person, I'm a numbers person, but I'm trying to imagine sitting in Nasik, which is where you're based. By no means is
Mhm.
it a small town. It's quite an advanced town. I know that. But sitting in Nasik, is it for an inventor? How difficult is it, or sitting anywhere in India, to get components, get the design part of it, get the UI, UX? Software is easier, but the hardware side of it, the dies, the materials. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was absolutely a very big journey. Like number one, we had to do a lot of paperwork. Then we had to do some data sheets, and we had engineers who could actually work. But then the components, single piece of components were not available. So we had to import few components from different places. Then try to like a small device. Also, if you want to build, you have to assemble components, and after 6 or 8 months of time, you see that integration is not giving the results that we actually wanted for. Then we moved to secondary design, we moved to third design, and then end of the day, I mean, after working for 2 3 years, we built a system which was this big, and we called it as a watch because we always know in our mind that the hardware size and everything can be shrinked and it can be brought down. But then the journey was so difficult because number one, we need to have right resource, and to have a right resource you should have funding. And at the beginning of the stage you don't have funds, so you have to convince your team people to have the same kind of passion, to have the same belief, or to visualize in the same manner what we are seeing 3 years 4 years down the line. But then everything started on a piece of paper, then we had a breadboards, and then we started doing this. So keeping team motivated throughout this journey with lot of failures in design, lot of things that is not going as expected, and meetings with companies like Qualcomm and Intel, and having a statement from them that this is not possible, and still encouraging our team member, our R&D team guys, engineers, that this is possible. I mean, we are, in a way we are able to do that. So that was absolutely bigger journey, because number one thing, you can always keep your team intact with either with passion, either with money, or either with some kind of facilities that you can provide to them. And as an R&D or as an team, what we only had, like only thing that we had is our vision, and we were all able to see what is growing up, what is it, how is it building, how is it coming. So the entire journey was
So,
all about determination, passion. Yeah.
yeah. I want to pick on that a little bit more because a lot of entrepreneurs go through similar journeys, right? You start
Yeah.
with an idea or a product, and I applaud you. You actually built a product with R&D in it, and real research, real the innovation. After all, you have one granted patent and 19 patents pending. So
Yeah.
you are an R&D organization. But when you work that closely without formal funding, and I know it must have been really tough, dark days, and you produce this, which people said, you can't do this. Some of the largest companies in the world said, you can't do this. Yet you did it. Yet you did it. And I've seen the prototype of the wearable devices that you had
Okay.
brought for us. So when you're so passionate, it's almost like your baby. The team is so well meshed, so invested in it. How does one decide we are going to put this on the shelf and move on? What, at what point you took that decision that we need to move on, guys, to something else? And how did you arrive at the decision?
Okay. So by the time when like the variable came into market, it was 2016, 17, 15, 18. Variable were precisely in the market, and then Apple and other companies came up with more marketing and other things. So we thought, because to produce a variable and get it to market with a competitive price, you need a very huge funding. So what we did was, our R&D base was still strong. We had not only built technology based on variables, but we had built something for telecommunication where we were able to have a device which can communicate even when there is no cellular network around. So as I said, spending the time with R&D team, or trying to uh, go through this journey, all that we had was some kind of new technology, some kind of innovation, and we kept on building. And then one fine day, when this we went to crowdfunding as well, and that was our last hope, when we thought we would get money from crowdfunding and then we'll take this product forward. But then the response of crowdfunding, because as I said, you rightly pointed out the timing by the time when we went to crowdfunding, we decided that we can have this platform. The timing was not suiting to that particular product because market was already overcrowded with variables and other technology. And that point of time, we decided we would bring some kind of technology. We are not able to bring it in a variable form, so let us give it a different form factor. So the Cordwell kiosk, what we have built, has lot of ingredients or lot of efforts or a lot of technologies which we had already built it for a wearable watch. So what we did is we did some small tweaks and we gave a
Yeah.
different form
So
factor.
hold that thought, because you're a classic case of pivoting the business, right?
Hmm.
You did R&D, produced a product, didn't work ahead of your time, and you decided, okay, from all our learnings and all the technology that we've got, let's now build another product. And you went from a B2C to a complete B2G model, B2B, B2G model, and built
Absolutely.
a completely different product. What is this product?
This product is called Cordwell Kiosk, and if you see, it is almost inspired by a system called as Wood Wide Web. Now, Wood Wide Web is a system or a technology which is beneath our ground, like underground, where trees, plants, and bigger trees communicate between them, and that is how this ecosystem and environment works. In. So when we thought of bringing kiosks, the idea was if you see computers, if you see laptops, the e-commerce or any kind of advertisement, now it is or any kind of applications on Android phone or Apple phone, now it has reached to its optimum limit. And in any kind of technology, whenever there is this optimal limit has reached, because you have AR, you have VR, you have all kinds of app that is available. Now when this optimal limit is reached, there is a different evolution that is going to happen, and that is what we call this as a technological leap. So we build this kiosk which will be in public places, and this will act as an internet for people, like where there will be interactive screens and other things. So basically, kiosk, how we build is it's an interactive tool for city planners. Now, based on city needs, you can actually configure, have it customized, and use the kiosk. For example, places like hilly areas where there are natural calamities, which is taking a lot of lives, which is destroying a lot of people's happiness and other thing. We built a system where it proactively gives you alerts, president alerts, and other stuff where people are already aware there is this natural calamity coming in. And this system also, the biggest thing that we have found out is let it be any country, but in India, if you see the machinery and government resources, problem is not with system, problem is with resource, and how do you manage that resource to optimally uh, help people or give service to people. Like one small ratio I'll tell is for 1 lakh people there are 125 police those are deployed to maintain law enforcement. Now it is highly impossible for this resource to maintain this bigger ratio. So then we have started building kiosks, which helps police, which helps government officials, where they can immediately reach to people. It acts as an communication bridge. And then overall, after doing this, we have found out like over with my journey in R&D, the last thing even you during the show, one interaction with you, you said numbers are very important. I mean, to have anything convertible or anything done, numbers are something. So what we have done is we have also given government a sustainable program where kiosk brings in revenue for the government as well. So if you say in short, they are not paying us, they're just paying us an advance money to build this infrastructure, but over a period of a time they achieve their break even in 9 months to 12 months time. So that's how we
So,
build the system. And
which are the municipalities or governments where you have found traction for this
hmm,
AI-driven, technology-driven, revenue-generating kiosk? Uh,
okay.
which are the ones that are right now where it is installed and working?
Currently, it's installed in Nasik, that we installed a couple of years back. Then recently, with this new advanced system, we have installed it in Uttarakhand. Like we have gotten confirmation to install it in Uttarakhand. So this month, around 16 or 17th, we'll be installing our first project, and around 120 in Uttarakhand. And we also had a meeting with Himachal government, and majorly one good traction is we have also got interest from Buckinghamshire Council. So in the month of Jan, we'll be going them and presenting, because last 9 months we had presented to their county members. Now we'll be actually going and presenting the device.
So as you go through this journey, obviously you would have tried to raise funds because you did come to India Fund Fest as well.
Yep.
Now, what is it that typically you hear from investors? What is it they tell you? I mean, often investors always tell you something that you don't have, right? That's their way of saying no. But is
Yeah.
there something consistent that you were told or asked to do?
Yeah, one thing I really like, any investor, he wants to invest. They want to see a profit and loss statement. They want to see a top line, bottom line, or they want to see a traction or revenue that is being generated. But in our case, what happens is R&D. You already have a balance sheet, which is a loss making balance sheet, because you have to spend that time to get that. And then we are not able. I mean, we are not in a position to show any kind of traction, any kind of revenue, or any kind of balance sheet until and unless there is first installation done or something going on. So in point of investor, we always hear one thing is, your balance sheet does not support or does not encourage us to invest.
Okay. Okay. And during the journey, you would have met a lot of mentors, guides, etc.
Mhm.
Has that helped, or has that been confusing because you get all kinds of advice?
Yeah, in both ways, if you see, it's both ways. Like, sometimes some sessions are confusing, completely confusing, but a lot, but you get an information from each and every aspect. Like, probably some mentors also advise that you don't have to do this, you take this. As you said, don't get into R&D. India is not a market to get into R&D, or India is not a product driven market. You should get into services, or you should get into software or something where you can get money, uh, which actually, we have already determined to build a product out of India. We have already spent a lot of years doing that. We have a team who believes that we are going to build a product, and then this kind of advice is something which we cannot take. I mean, we want something where how do we move from here? Like, how do we move ahead with our own thoughts, with our own journey, or how do we? That's where we have a lot of confusion with mentors sometimes.
So, I have been speaking to you on and off over the last 3, 4 years, and every time you launch a new product or you get a new client, you definitely uh, send me the brochure, and you keep me posted.
Yeah, yeah.
When you think of this last 6, 7 years journey that you have gone through as
Mhm.
an entrepreneur, as a founder, is there something you would have done differently?
Yes. I always believe, I mean, one thing that I could have done differently would be to have a commercial associated with a product, and then talk to an investor on how actually to project. Because when I was doing a building a technology, I was totally focused on developing the best product, the product that does not exist in the market, and we get into it. But parallelly, if I could have built a business plan based out of this journey, and then parallelly things could have happened phase one, two, three, four, where I could have shown that this is the beta phase, this is the R&D phase, this is the projection. So probably that is something I get. The process orientation thing could have been a bit different. I
Did you
believe.
start straight out of college, or you worked somewhere before you started this
No,
company?
I worked. Yeah, yeah. I worked for around 18 years with MNC. I was deployed in US for some time. Then I was working for Nokia Siemens Network, where I used to handle their integrated systems and telecommunication for Europe zone. And then one fine day, there was this. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to create something. So I thought I'll give a shot where I'll invest my own money. I'll build a product, and then I'll start this journey. So that's how it started.
So now that you're more focused on obviously trying to sell the product and get it deployed and meet the lot of meetings with government before you get an order, etc. Do you sometimes miss actually sitting back and creating stuff? Has the creator in you taken a backseat?
Okay. I always have this strong point. I mean, my core area is to develop or think and do a research, which I do regularly. and giving a presentation of the product is a part which I'm doing right now, because I think I'll be able to explain on what vision I have in doing this. But then I had never left something that I really that is my core strength. I had never left that. So maximum time even today goes into research and development or doing some kind of research activity.
So, what is it that is exciting that you would possibly be working on for the next product?
The next project that I have in mind, which I have already started working, I mean, as I said, like I spent more of the time in doing research, is working something on. I've been working this for around 3 to 4 years now, working something on environmental science. So environmental science, how do we get these carbon credits? How do we get these carbon offsets and get carbon credits out of it? And then that's the concept like we are working on right now. We have also named it. It's an air fountain. I'm just selling it right now. So we named it
So,
as a concept called as air fountain.
through this journey, have you been a single founder or have you had co-founders supporting you?
Yeah, me and my wife, we started this company. She was a co-founder, and now we are that's how now it started, like as a co-founder. My wife was a co-founder.
Has being in Nasik been a handicap? For example, if you had been in a Bangalore or somewhere, would it make a difference to you? Do you think?
Yes, I think place does matter. Like during your R&D time, it doesn't matter much. But when you are meeting more of investors, you want to participate in events. During that time, place really does matter. Like if it was Bangalore, possibly I would have had a lot of more meetings, lot of more exposures to things, have more networking done. But Nasik, it restricts a bit.
I know you have won a lot of awards and you have got the recognition. I have seen a lot of newspaper and media coverage about your company as well. When you look back, and it's been a pretty difficult journey, right? But now things are stabilizing and looking up, and I'm sure you will do very well. I will do everything I can to connect you and showcase you like we are doing now.
I appreciate it. Thank you so
But
much. Yeah.
of the things that you have done in the last 6 7 years, what is it that makes you the most proud or satisfies you?
My team makes me very proud, and the team that always stands by me, whatever situation is, it's the connection is not only about money. The connection is not about any other privileges or any other designation. As you know, startups, we have all having our own designation. It's not about anything. It's about one goal, one vision, and my team trusting on my dream, staying with me for 7 years with max, like what are optimum sacrifices they can do. They have done everything, and still being with me gives me strength, where that's how it encourages me to get into more products, do more R&D, because I always believe having a strong team with you, and 7 years is, it becomes a family now. So we are almost, everyone is family. So that gives me a pride feeling.
Anand, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you. Despite this the journey of ups, downs, and now relative success, you're still balanced, still grounded. You still speak without malice. You still speak with the excitement of the next product. You talk about your team. These are values that every entrepreneur should imbibe. I wish you the very best, and I hope to be a part of your journey as you go through success, which is inevitable for a person with your kind of grit and determination. Thank you. All the best, and have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Nalin, for your kind words. I really appreciate it. Thank you for
Thank you.
calling me in the show. Thank you.